Good day and positive vibrations. This is Major with Major TV in conjunction with news, facts, and comments. I want to thank everybody viewing. I really appreciate you coming through and supporting the channel. Please like and share this live. We have a very, very special guest. Shouts to Jimmy in the UK. She told me about this brother, um, Clive Lindsay, aka Gold Guru. This brother here have so much to say, a plethora of things to say, and I don't even want to like overwhelm you with all the accolades and whatnot. But he's an ex New York stockbroker. He's been in the investment world for a minute. He has a major campaign trying to teach the young ones in our community about investing in gold. I want to welcome brother Clive. How you doing, man?
Yeah, me. Sorry for running a couple of minutes late. London traffic, but I managed to speed my life out of my wife and my kids. But we made it safe.
It's all good, man. We understand. We understand. That's why I said we're gonna wait on you, man, because this information that you're sharing in our community, the campaign and responsibility you took on sharing what's going on in the motherland. Let's talk about how what's your journey and what brought you here. Tell us a little something about yourself.
Well, stated I'm an ex New York stockbroker. I worked in New York for a little while as a junior broker for 7 years. Previous to that, I had a diploma in graphic design. Previous to that, I was blazing to, you name it, or working in retail and all. But after working in the dark world of banking, particularly working in New York and London, legally criminal the institutions are, and how they're just and not, in the interest of the people. I mean, we all know what it's like going into a bank and clearly you feel like you're not being loved. So with being a stockbroker, our number one fill the institutions' pockets, and it was a case of waking up and realizing that you have aspirations and you want to, sort of be proud of what you do. So I got the dark side and then got involved in gold nearly 10 years ago. But I have been trading commodities, and because I've since I launched sort of my campaign on gold, which is to work with color.
Excuse me, Clive. And Jim says he's going in and out. I don't know if I'm having internet problem or you having that problem. I'm hearing everything you're saying, right? But it is going in and out. You can continue, but I want you to be mindful that when our internet's acting up, and I'm hearing you, right? But you can hear where there's a delay in and out. But you can continue talking.
Okay. Maybe because we're overseas as well, I actually can see here. I do have 4 at the moment, so it's a bit concerning. But yeah, I try and speak a bit slower as well. So my background, as I said, is an ex-broker. Sort of got closely with the Black community. The wealth that we have as a people has drawn comparison to our counterparts, whether that's white, Jewish, Indians, out of bed, is just to try and minimize that gap, to give us good education on wealth and get to where we should be. I mean, we should be super rich as a people, and that's what gets me out of bed is educating the world about wealth and just protecting hard-earned cash. But more importantly, we're due for the biggest gold run in the history. So gold has been going up quite nicely lately in US dollars. It has been flat over the last 10 years. Collapses in the British pounds. We know gold is probably going to have its biggest move in the history of. It could be an opportunity for all of us to get quite rich.
Okay, so when do you get, or why you calling the gold guru?
Just because I'm highly educated in commodities as well as numerous others. I literally eat and breathe gold. I mean, gold is in us anyway. Naturally, all of us have a bit of gold. Like, it runs through my veins. Since I've been in gold, it's just, for me, my family, all it's done is provided us with protection and a chance to make some good profits. Call me the gold guru because I know a fair amount about the subject.
Okay, now let's talk a little bit about that, right? Is investing in gold as a hedge against the bank institutions that seem like they're about to go out of business, as well as inflation and the in our case valueless currency?
Yeah. So I mean, we're going to see the currencies collapse. As you said, we've got hyperinflation, and that pushes inflation for dinner. Imagine sitting at a dinner table with a plate ready to eat. It's the number one price driver, and we know as the dollar deep push up, the more we print, the more the more money we print is the more chances of prices increase. That's the dollar. Hence why you guys are introducing the Fed coin and trying to roll it out quite quickly. Does that answer your question?
Yes, but we're gonna go a little more deeper. Like, well, okay, so tell me how when you invest in gold, you're benefiting financially. And I understand the intricate value of it, but I think in a layman's sense, people need to understand the significance of it.
Okay, so if you were to buy, let's just say, hold a dollar, yeah. So and if you look back at the dollar note and you go back, say, or so 40 years or so, go back to the 1980s. Now the dollar note bought you about 4 loaves of bread. Yeah, maybe sorry, about 5-6 loaves of bread in the 80s. That's today $1 could probably buy you half a loaf for bread, because what's happened is it's purchased and the dollar has lost 98% of its value. So the actual coin gold itself per ounce is throughout history, whereas the dollar is collapsed. So a prime example of how the gold coin has always held its value throughout thousands of years is if you look at if we go back to the Roman Empire, one of the first economic empires in Athens. But in the Roman Empire, 1 gold coin could buy you a day. So in the Roman Empire, 1 gold coin could buy you some nice sandals. Imagine walking around with the nicest limited Air Jordans. A pound coin, a gold coin, could buy you sandals. A gold coin made out of the finest material could have bought you some pottery. And a gold coin today is nearly $2,000 US. I mean, that's enough to get yourself a nice pair of shoes for $500. And obviously pottery isn't as popular as it was back then, but it's value today. Whereas you compare that with currencies, fiat. All currencies are fiat. Fiat is a Latin term, calculation with no intrinsic value. Yeah. And all fiat goes to 0,000 currencies throughout its inception, and they've always gone to 0. All fiat currencies. Gold, as I said, has always maintained its purchasing power.
All right, I want to thank everybody tuning in. We have Clive Lindsay, aka Gold Guru. If you're not familiar with him, you need to tune in and watch this brother explain to us about the value of investing in gold, because there's so much we're looking at as a community, as a global community, because it's big banks, you know what I'm saying? It's at 3% that's really controlling and trying to bring, I think, everything under one rule of currency, but that a way of it changing. But I have another question, and I haven't even went to my actual question. I want to ask you what the reason why gold has value. This is my question. Is because with gold you can make things with it, like chains, and you can do stuff with gold. You know what I'm saying? You can. It's so much you can do with gold. So explain versus the dollars. We know in 1976, the former President Nixon, he had canceled on the U.S. dollar for being backed by gold, because the gold was leading. Because when banks were getting in trouble, people go run. I want my money back. Then the notes then, right? And they were like, the people. They took the people gold. Remember back in the early 1920s, former President Roosevelt,
Yeah,
outlawed gold. People having gold and treasure notes, what have you.
yeah,
So let's talk
yeah.
about that. Because once, like you said, it's just an IOU debt that creates a large inflation, like the video something where the guy was talking about the United States and $30 trillion worth of debt. Please explain that in your best way of doing it in layman's terms.
We'll talk about, I think it was in 1971, actually. We came off the Bretton Woods. So Nixon, he said, guys, we're going to do this short term, just to sort of stimulate. We'll go back soon. And then, 50 years later, it's still, which the reason being is because everybody empowered realized if you peg to gold, you can't print. So the good thing is that Nixon was able to do was create a situation, which, as we know, is kind of illegal. If we took the dollar and we went to photocopy the dollar, we get arrested. But since Nixon came off the gold standard, the Bretton Woods system, it's just been print ever since. Now that's great for the rich. The rich, fortunately, the average working Joe, the middle class and the lower class, all they see is that their power diminishing because we're printing so much. So and then the good evidence that the US and along with other G7 nations, US, Japan, Euro is all going to be pegged to gold. So they're going back. So this is monumental in history, and this is why you need to get as much gold as possible because standard. Because when you have this economy that Nixon created, problem is it creates a boom and bust. Boom bust, boom bust. There's no like what we saw pre-70s. So it's important that we go back to an organic, true system. I mean, 1971, when he came off the Bretton, what's known as Keynesian economics, and now we're going back to an economic style, which is pegged to gold. But not only is the G gold, which is major, without even swearing, this is one of the most monumental. But the BRICS economies, Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa, Saudis, they back to gold.
Excuse me, let me cut you off. Somebody in the chat said, please, will he be able to disconnect and call back? I'm hearing you well. I understand what you're saying, but our listening audience having a problem. Can you
let me just connect and come back.
Yeah.
Come back.
All right. I want to thank everybody viewing. Apologize. We having technical issues. Clive is overseas in the UK, and I'm in the States, so there's probably be a disconnect while in there. But please be patient with us because there is a plethora of things this brother know. He corrected me when the goal was when Nixon stopped the goal from back in the dollar. I thought it was 76, but yeah, 71. But it's so much. I have a number of things to ask him. If you have questions, please place your questions in the chat, and I will definitely pull them up so you all can get an answer to your questions.
Brother, is that a little bit clearer?
Much clearer, my brother. Much clearer. Now, I'm going to let you know right now. I know y'all probably missed some information. Not to cut you off. I'm sorry. I want to make sure I backtrack, but in another way, because there was a lot he talked about. And I'm sorry y'all really can't hear him, but I can hear him, even though I know it's breaking up. I'm hearing him very clear. But you can continue, my brother.
Yeah, so just basically, we're moving away from Keynesian economics. We're now moving to Austrian economics, which is, where it should be. So you've got the BRICS economies and the, the G7 nations. The whole world is going back to a gold standard, and this is why we think it's going to moon, literally moon very soon. So I just covered that 1971 bit. You talked about Roosevelt, good knowledge as well, brother. I'm very impressed there when he outlawed gold. A lot of people say to me, is that going to happen again? Well, no, it's not. And there's two main reasons. One, we don't, back in the 1920s, or it was actually in the 30s, rather, when Roosevelt did that, the average person was quite awake. We actually had a really good education system. So we were trained at school that gold was real money. Now they try and teach us that, you know, it's for crazy people or conspiracy theorists. So in the 20s, people were quite educated, and most of their portfolio, a lot of it actually, they had gold in there. So the average American in the 1920s and 30s, 8% of their portfolio was exposed to gold, whether it was jewelry, gold under the mattress, gold nuggets, or they had shares in gold companies, but it was about 8%. Today, brother, because we've been programmed not to buy gold, that number is more like less than 1%. You know, so we as a people don't own enough gold for them to outlaw it and try and get it back, because we don't own it. You know, the average American doesn't, the average, because the central banks have been buying all of it. So that's not going to happen for one reason: there's no gold. But also, if you look at the attitudes, I mean, if you look at some of my clients in Texas, I mean, they've probably got more guns than they have pair of socks. Okay, you know, you go and knock on a Texan man's door and say, look, you know, that we're the government and we believe you own some gold and we're going to, you know, we want it back, give it back to us. You know, it's just not going to happen. There's going to be uproar. So the nice thing about gold, though, is it does give us power and freedom as a people, because even if the bloody government did come and knock on our doors and say, oh, where's your gold? Well, oh, okay, I had some. I was looking at it in the garden yesterday. You know, hold on, let me just check if it's still in the garden. Oh, it's gone. You know, what do you want to do about it? Yeah, it gives us power and it gives us freedom, which is great. But there's going to be no outlawing for those particular reasons, because we just don't own enough gold. But it's a really good point. You also talked about the levels of debt, which is skyrocketing at a tremendous pace. I mean, Biden's just given another 100 billion to the Israel and Ukraine, 60 billion to the Israelis to go blow up some kids, and 40 billion for Ukraine to try and fight a war they're clearly going to lose. So they're just printing left, right, and center. But those wars, we're on the brink, on the parapet of World War III now, because Biden just launched a nuclear sub from the US the other day. Congress has given the US approval to attack Iran. We've got the Taiwan and Chinese situation kicking off. I mean, the world is at a parapet to World War III. So gold is deemed just to go up for that reason, let alone inflation, let alone currencies dropping. If you imagine gold, you know, it's got like 10 catalysts up its backside, you know, and all it takes is for one of those catalysts to light, and then she's going to the moon. And those catalysts are supply and demand, recession, war. We just come off of the biggest medical fraud in history, COVID. Oh, I better be careful. I'm on live. I'll get the police around the door. Should we say the special C? You know, all of these things are certainly pushing gold up, because, as I say, it gives people a chance to get off the radar, get power, get freedom. It's one of the very few asset classes that's not recorded, and it kind of gets us out the rat race, which is magic. But yeah, this debt is going to continue to spiral until it goes bang, until the US defaults, which again is quite likely, and we haven't seen that before in history.
Well, I really want to thank you for the videos you shared. I shared, I think, one of the videos, whatnot. I
Thanks,
think
brother.
all four of the videos was good. That's when I was advertising this live today, right?
Yeah.
And this guy was talking about BRICS, right? He was talking about China and Russia saving gold for the last 20 years. Can
Yeah.
you explain about that? Then in another video, he talked about how it's strange how the United States reporting X amount of gold that they overall have. Well, X amount of gold that they have, but look like there's a bunch of other gold that they're not reporting, and seem
Yeah.
like they're also secretly preparing for. Oh, really? I'm a coin it a war for who has the most gold to control and
The
more.
world. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
what it is, brother. I mean, look, if you study history, and I try and see myself as a kind of a monetary historian, but whoever's had the most gold in the world has ran the world. I mean, that's the biggest secret out there. Let's look at the empires. So you got the Aztecs, the Mayans, the Egyptians. Can you name another one for me, brother? The Roman Empire.
All right.
Um, I know there's one missing, but all of these, and probably hit me in a second, but all of these, you know, empires, guess what they own? They own gold. you know, and unfortunately some of them got raped by the likes of the Spanish and the French, and that's how they become super rich today. So we know whoever owns the most gold runs the world, and that's why the Chinese, going back 20 years ago, took over Africa, because they knew, you know, whoever owns the most gold, whereas the Americans were more concerned about, you know, print, and putting a mask on. So, you know, and yeah, so to cover China, I mean, China and Russia, they have been very secretive. They do own much more gold than they're announcing. I mean, China said they've only got 2 tons. America said they've got 8 tons. But if I've looked at some of the numbers last week on China, and there's been about 30 tons which has gone through the Shanghai exchange, 30,000, sorry, what was the number? Sorry, it's about 20 or so thousand tons have gone through the Shanghai exchange. I think about 3,000 tons are owned from the people. I mean, if you do the calculations, they've probably got, I think it's in the region of 30,000 tons in comparison to 8,000 that the US has. And the US, we don't even know if they've got 8,000. They've been lying, not lying, but they haven't shown their cards. They haven't been audited since the 70s. So we don't know if they've lent out their gold. I mean, there's so much fraud going on in the government. As you know, there's billions of pounds went missing from Congress, you know, a year or so ago. So God knows if the gold is there. I wouldn't be surprised if they've leased it out, or it maybe isn't there, because the US, I feel like the US government have got no interest in keeping your country alive. They're trying to collapse your country. As you know, the US, unfortunately, is collapsing like the Soviet Union. And I'm not saying we're any better. We are as well, because whatever you guys do, when you guys sneeze, we don't catch a cold. We bloody catch plague now, you know. So when you're in trouble, we're in big trouble, because we're up your backside, unfortunately. So yeah, so China and US, they've been buying up all of the gold around the world, because they're going to peg to gold. Now, obviously, what that means is the gold price is probably going to skyrocket. If you think about it logically, let's look at, say, the Russians. I mean, the Russians are master strategists. I mean, these guys, you know, can play chess with one hand with their eyes closed. Putin has always been 3 steps ahead. And what competition has Putin got? Well, he's got Biden, who's half asleep, you know, and no disrespect to your Congress or whatever, but there doesn't seem to be much brains there, particularly at the Federal Reserve. So the China and Russia, they haven't got really much competition, you know, and these guys are 5 steps ahead of us, which is a shame. So it's clear that they're going to peg to gold. And the way you got to see it is, if you're a Russian and you're Chinese and you've just bought more gold than you ever have in your history, well, are you buying gold because you think the price is going to go down, or are you buying gold because it's probably going to go up? I mean, that's a bit of a no-brainer, brother. Yeah. So I
Yeah,
think if what the wise money needs to do is to follow the actions and not the words of these central banks. Yeah, because Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa, Saudi, you know, every nation around the world is pretty much filling their boots with gold, because their local currencies are depleting and they need to balance their books. And this is why I say, live now, we will run out of gold. Yeah, there's a guy that I follow, one of my favorite analysts, Mike Maloney. Very, very intelligent guy, very good visionary. And I've been following him for 20 years. And we know we're going to run out of retail gold, because, you know, we haven't seen such gold buying. And do you know where gold comes from, brother? The actual source of gold?
it come from. I know it's out. It come from on what, at the ground, right?
Yeah, yeah. So how did it get underground? Do you have any idea?
No, I have no idea.
Yeah, so gold is from our solar system. Yeah, it's been around before the planet was even, you know, the crust were even put together. As you know, Earth was made, I think, from the moon breaking off, and then that's how Earth was created. Well,
Wow, it's created.
yeah,
Wow, educate
yeah.
me. Wow.
So with gold has been in our solar system, you know, microdust, which would form a star, and then over time that star would implode, break off, meteorites and asteroids will break off and then fly to Earth. And that's where gold would come from. But we don't have meteorites really that hit Earth anymore, hence why we're still here. But thousands of millions of years ago, we had massive meteorites that hit Earth. You can see it in America, in certain states. You've got those giant craters. Yeah. So most of the gold, we had a lot of it hit millions of years ago when all our tectonic plates were put together. Do you remember we were next door to you? We can actually see how we connect, you know. the north part of Americas, the Canadas and Europe. You can see how it was all one at one stage. And then when we were all our tectonic plates were together, there was a massive meteorite that came south of the equator and near South Africa. And that's why most of the gold is in that region. And then it bursted out and went all over the place, including the UK and other countries. But that's where it's concentrated. So that's why it's so magical. It vibrates at a unique frequency. I mean, just to hold your own wealth in your hand is a magical feeling, brother. This is why I do so much business, because when clients actually, for the first time in their life, after banking with Chase Manhattan or, you know, Barclays or HSBC, where they've never seen or felt their money before, for the first time ever, they can have the wealth in their hands. And as you know, it heals, you know, it has healing properties. It's quite magic to behold it. So it's not just about protecting your wealth and us making a small fortune, but it is truly magic gold from what it can do for us.
I want to thank Clive for coming on. I want to thank everybody viewing. I see there's a question, and I'm gonna answer that question real soon, sister. Y'all please like and share this live. Like and share this live. Subscribing to the channel. We're always providing valuable information that we can use as a community. And I will get to your question, sister. And if y'all have questions, please questions in the chat. I will get to them. But I also want to go through some of my questions or whatever, because I have some real concerns, right? I'm gonna come back to BRICS. I'm gonna come back. I want to talk about our community, because it seems like we know all the hot topics to talk about, right? And sometimes we talk about these topics, we sound dumb, you know what I'm saying? In my opinion, right? Because we throw all these real things that's going on with no real solutions, while we're in the middle, of big countries that's playing with our lives and everybody else's lives, right? And we don't have a say. Seems like we don't understand what's going on. I gotta invest the elephant in the room. Why are we so Johnny come late on something like this? Because I know some people in our community talk about buying gold, but they be more abstract. Or so they heard somebody tell them, they
Yeah,
got thing going on.
we've been programmed, brother. We've been programmed to be in this sort of materialistic consumer world where, you know, I talk to my oldest daughter that's 24 and should rather probably use her credit card and buy some Balenciaga shoes than actually buying gold, you know, because they've been programmed that way. And this is why I say it's a big difference from the education system that we saw back in the 1920s. You know, the education system now is, I think it was set up by the Rothschilds, and it's really just to limit us. It's a factory-based type of education. You know, yes sir, no sir, put your hand up to go to toilet. There's no personal development. There's nothing spiritual. The West, Americas, and us, the UK, we've got one of the worst education systems in the world now, but there's a reason for that. You know, you keep the people dumb and silly, and they're easier to control, hence why your foods unfortunately are a bit worse than ours. You've got a lot of banned foods in America that were not even legal in this country because it dumbs down your brain and it causes diseases and all sorts of stuff. So, and you know, fluoride example numbs your brain, you know. So there's a big movement in the US to dumb down people so they can control you more. But it's the same over here. I think it's a little bit worse over there, unfortunately. And unfortunately, being of Jamaican heritage, you know, the Jamaicans, every food that the Americans get, the Jamaicans are taking as well. And they're getting sick. We've got record number of diabetes and cancer cases because, you know, eating bun and cheese every day, it just won't do you any good, even though it tastes amazing. So it's, you know, there's a massive push to not. Gold is the biggest secret in the world, you know, and there's a massive push not to let people know what's going to happen to it, because it does, as I said, give us power and gets us off the radar and gives us independence. But, you know, that's why I'm here, to educate the people from the youth to the elders to realize there is a light at the end of the tunnel. There's a savior. There's a holy grail. You know, that's what gold is. It's a holy grail where you can buy something that secures your wealth, but possibly make a small fortune. Now, ordinarily, when you want to make 5-10 times your money, which I think gold is going to do, I think it could do 20 times. Yes, I'm saying that live. I think if you put in 2 grand, you know, this could go to £40,000. If you put in 20 grand, you know, this could go to £500,000 I generally believe that, because that's what it did in the 70s. And I just think, yeah, if you can lay your eggs down now or lay them, I think you'd be very surprised in what could hatch in the years to come.
Clive. So that's why so many countries like Russia, excuse me, China. I'm gonna say
Yeah.
China, Europe, India, what have you. It's directly focused on the minerals in Africa.
Yeah, can I touch on that? So with the Chinese, and this is why the Americans and the British and the Western world they're trying to mess us up, bro. The Chinese, they have a massive movement where they're educating the people to buy gold. You go down the average Chinese high street, yeah, and you will see a billboard, buy gold, and there's initiatives to buy gold. You turn the corner, you'll see another poster up on some telephone pole, buy gold. You jump into a Chinese cab and it says buy gold. They are pushing their people to buy gold because they want their people to become the richest in the world and the most powerful. Whereas what are the Americans telling us to do? What are the UK government telling us to do? To wear masks and get credit cards. You know, it's they are genuinely caring about their people. So I just wanted to add on that. Sorry to cut you off, brother.
No, no, that was what I really wanted to see. My thing is this, right? We know, and if you mature enough and you have been in Iraq, we know we've been miseducated. In the States, for sure, we advocate. It's been Carl G. Wilson wrote a book, Miseducation of Negro. In the book, he said, whatever you know or think you know, he said, throw in the trash. And I'm paraphrasing. He said, everything that been told you was a lie. You know what I'm saying? He said, we've been taught that even if there's a front door, we should not go out that front door, go out the back door. We even have to create one, right? So we noticed, and it was a 1920s book was wrote, right? We noticed. So for me, when I asked you that, because I won't lie, in our community, we having especially in the States, we're having all kind of fuss and fights and everything, debates and
Yeah,
everything
yeah.
about the direction of our community. Economically, we have no real formula, right? We talk about all the great towns and cities and how the government and the powers that be destroyed these cities. But we have seen many people in this country and around the world become very wealthy, right? And I look at strategically how people do things, right? A lot of times we're so out and open with things and think we can just be so blunt in what we say, knowing they watch is supposed to being more strategical. I think that's just a disaster when we don't be strategic and we doing. And I'm not saying they want your vegan because you know what they're capable of. At the same time, you gotta push forward regardless, right? So my question is, and knowing we Johnny come late, where we start at? Because one sister, and I saw we'll get the question later, but she asked where to buy gold, and somebody else have another question about it too. And I'm gonna get to those questions later. But what do we start, man? Because I know it starts with education, but help us with this.
Well, anytime you want to buy gold, just reach out to me. I'm sure you'll be able to give our website afterwards, brother. We do look after a lot of clients around the world. So just reach out to me whenever you're ready. We'll be able to provide our contact details at the end. But where do we start? I mean, we start by laying down some money and buying gold. You know, as a people, particularly as Black people, we do tend to procrastinate quite a lot. And particularly when I work with brothers and sisters, sometimes it's like, well, what are you getting out of this? You know, this is too good to be true. You must be trying to rip me off. And it's like, hold on, not all brothers and sisters, are like that. You know, we are generally trying to do a movement here where we're trying to help people and educate them. So I think there's a lot of procrastination out there, and procrastination is one of the biggest failures in business. Now, people need to realize I, as a salesman, look, at the end of the day, I'm a glorified salesman. I won't beat around the bush, although I'm highly educated and good at what I do and skillful. But I'm a salesman at the end of the day. But as a salesman, I've got the easiest job in the world because I don't even need to sell gold. All I'm offering people, or all you're going to get when you buy gold, is you're just converting your ownership from whatever bank it's sitting in, and you're now going to convert it to your ownership. And that's my job, is to convert the ownership, which is true wealth. Or another way to put it, my job is to get you out of fiat. All you guys are sitting on fake fiat right now, whether it's in your pension plans or stocks and shares or whatever, and the Dow and the S&P hold me to this, is going to half. That's a bit of a no-brainer. That's going to clap. The US property market's going to half as well, at least. So what it's about is my job is so easy. It's just about converting fake fiat. You've got assets out there which are at systemic risk, and literally just converting that into real money, sound money, which is gold. So the first step is really just to lay down your funds and just try and get as much gold as possible. Or if you're a bit tight on cash, just get a little bit, get a taste for it, at least get a tiny foundation or a little umbrella to put over your head. At least it's going to protect you a bit before the storm comes. And then later on, get yourself a bigger umbrella and you'll be all right.
And this goes to my next question, right? Which is basically the same question, but a little different. We got a twist to it. Well, how can we invest directly in Africa? And what's the safest way?
Yeah.
To not get defrauded.
Well, first, I wouldn't probably be able to answer that question clearly because it's such a broad question. I do have clients that say to me, "Oh, well, I could go to Africa and I could buy cheap gold." And yeah, I say go and do that, but it is very, very risky. I mean, even the nicest of countries, Ghana, where my missus is from, lovely people in general, but 70% of people that go to buy gold from there end up buying fake gold. And the thing is, you can go to Africa and buy African gold, but unfortunately, it's not recognized on the international markets. The gold that I get my clients involved in is either from the US Mint, which is actually legal tender, real money, or the UK Mint, which is real money, legal tender. And then that means you can sell it anywhere around the world. But it is nice to go back to Africa. I mean, unfortunately, I deal with the Royal Mint. Obviously, it's, we're talking Queen and King and all that sort of stuff. And we're not advocates of the royal family. We're just here to make money for ourselves and our clients and get the best opportunity. But Western gold is a bit easier to manage and a bit more recognized. But how would you go about going to Africa? I mean, you just have to go there yourself, make sure you don't get ripped off, maybe get a professional assayer to check that the gold is real. But then how are you going to bring it back? I mean, a lot of people don't take into consideration taxations, transportation, logistics, insurance. I mean, I just make life easier for people and I just buy them sort of Western gold, which is fully packaged. And that's certainly less of a headache. But yes, I would love a situation where, we could all go over to Africa and buy the gold from there and create a solid business. I do have a friend of mine, which I'll big up now. He runs a company called Kingsby Gold. And if anyone wanted an introduction, I could do that. And Kingsby Gold is a Ghanaian company. It has its own access to its refinery. And I know the CEO very, very well. But again, he's having problems launching in the UK and the US market because your average Joe doesn't want African gold. They want, your buffaloes or your eagles or your British recognized coins. So that's my view anyway on it, brother.
Again, I want to thank you, Clive, for coming on. I want to thank everybody viewing. We're talking about why investment in gold may be the best option for us, for you viewing. Please share this live. Even when it's over, share the live, like it. We're talking about why investing in gold may be the best option for us. My next question is, what is the banking climate today? Is it safe to deal with banks anymore?
Banks on the brink of collapse. You just had 5 US banks go bang in the last year. Like, it's just one after another. I think the first one was First Republic, SVB. I mean, you've had loads of banks go bust. You just had one last week go bust. I'd have to check my phone. I can't remember the name. There's so many I can't keep up. In the UK, we've got a couple of that nearly went bust. We had Metro Bank, which is actually a US-based bank. That nearly went bust. I mean, look, guys, the banks are quite likely to go bust in the US and the UK. I mean, this happens in every recession. The smaller banks go bust and then the big boys take them over. The problem is that, us, the people, we become the suckers because when the banks go bust this time in America and the UK, there's going to be a bail-in, which means in the US, by law, they will take your money. That's exactly what happened with First Republic and these other banks in the US. They took the people's money. Like UBS in Europe, that went down, took people's money. We're going to have a bail-in, which is opposite to bail out. that means the bank by law can take your money. Now, the English that they write, which is in small print, is the instrument holder shall bear the losses if the institution were to fail. Now, that basically means you, the account holder, is going to lose if the bank goes bang. Now, the US banks and the UK banks, they're going to issue you shares if they go bang, but the shares will be worthless anyway. And this is how the story is going to play out. The US and the US banks will go bang, and then they'll say, guys, I'm so sorry. Banks are such terrible people. Look, they've gone bang and they've taken all your money. What horrible people. But us, the government, we have a solution. We have the Fed coin, and the Fed coin is going to help you guys because it's going to be a new payment system and you're going to have access to millions of terminals. And guess what? We're going to give you 500 credits for free. Here's the carrot. For free, because we're the government. We care about you. Plus, energy costs are going up. The cost of living's going up. So we just want to help you, to get on this platform with this new money and just take advantage of your new 500 credits or whatever. I mean, they've rolled it out 2 black countries first, Jamaica and Nigeria, with brown bags and that. They always test out black countries first, whether it's medical or financial. But that's how it's going to play out, brother. That's how the picture is going to go over the next 12 to 24 months.
Okay, thank you for the information. We have to stay communicating. I'm loving the conversation.
Yeah, I'll give you some more. I'll give you some more off the top of my head. The FDIC, the Federal Depository Insurance Commission, I think, off the top of my head, that's you guys. They're brass. There's no money. They got I haven't even got the numbers in front of me, but they nearly went bang on the first 3 banks that went bust. They've run out of money just on the first 3. There's no more left in the kitty, let alone 100 banks go bust. So there's no paying out. There's no insurance. In the UK, we have FSCS, Financial Services Compensation Scheme, and they've gone bust. Yeah, not gone bust, but they've only got 500 million in the kitty. We need a trillion in case British banks go bust. And it's actually written on our government website in small print. It says, if all the banks go bust, we don't know if we can pay you out. If one does, we can handle that, But if all of them go bust, we're stuck. So I just wanted to cover that on the insurance side. There's no protection. You will just.
In other words, a large grave scheme as far as a Ponzi scheme going on.
Yeah. There's no protection. You'll just get crappy shares in the bank, or what they'll do is they'll convert you to the Fed coin. Don't worry, guys, the bank went bust, but we'll convert you straight to Fed coin. Now, if that happens, you will never, ever see, touch, or feel your money again. That's it. And that's why you need gold.
Well, I have 2 questions 3 really before we get to the comments. But the first one is, what other minerals we can invest in, and what our financial planning should look like in the present day and moving forward?
Well, other minerals you can look at. I mean, silver in the US, I think, is tax-free. In the UK, it's not. So I know my US clients, they do like getting some silver. It's a little bit riskier than gold. It's not deemed as sort of real money like gold is, but it's like gold's angry little sister, a little bit more volatile, but I think it does have a tremendous upside, and it tends to rally very, very well when gold does. So that's one. The other one you can look at would be like copper. I mean, copper does look attractive at the moment, but again, like silver, these are not easily tradable. Sometimes they're a bit more niche. Uranium. I mean, uranium's trading at over $50 a pound now. And the US are going big into uranium because uranium's massive. The whole world is going to probably go nuclear. And there's a massive demand for nuclear power because it is still quite safe and very efficient. And I think we're going to have a big uranium run. But again, these are all very risky. I mean, if there's a nuclear disaster, uranium would, you lose your money overnight. And this is why I sell gold. Gold has 0 risk. I have the best job in the world, whereas silver and uranium, copper, these are a little bit more risky. I don't gamble. I've never been a fan of gambling. I don't like the fact the house always wins. So this is why I do gold. I can kind of read it like the back of my hand.
So the second question was how financial planning should look present day and go into the future?
In a nutshell, buy as much gold as possible. literally. I can't obviously on a base to base, you know, when I speak to individuals, we can tailor something to them because it's quite a broad question, brother. And it really depends on that individual and what their goals are and their aspirations, you know, where they stand, what are they looking to get out of this, and that's something we'd have on a one-to-one basis. But you know, there's a term called TINA, which is there's no other alternative apart from gold. So in regards to planning your future, buy the hell out of gold, and you'll probably make more money than you ever have.
I do want you to give your last words and what have you, but there are questions that came up that I think that there were a couple of questions I know. One of them you already answered, but
yeah, well, we'll be back on anyway. This is just the warm up, just to give the people a feel for the magic.
All right.
We'll be back on.
All right, sister. Tara Muhammad asks, "Well, can we buy gold?" I think you answered that, but you can answer it again.
Yeah. So if you just go, I mean, just reach out to me. If you can put my WhatsApp number, it's +44 7930 615 367.
Hold on one second. I'm sorry. Say again. Plus.
So +44 for the UK.
All right.
And then 7930
All right.
615.
6. That's it.
Yeah, 615 and then 367.
367.
Yeah, but we'll put it up on the chat. The website, if you guys want to check it out, it is the website is www.
Hold on one second. Let me get your WhatsApp number. I'm sorry.
No problem.
I'm sorry, y'all. I supposed to have that already. I'm gonna wind up putting this also in the description of the video of the live. I just was kind of rushing to get this on out here. And what's else you was providing, my brother?
So it's just www.buy hyphen, which is the little line in the middle.
All right.
.co.uk.
You do the say again.
So buy hyphen bullion.co.uk. I just messaged you.
All right, I see it right here. Yeah.
So yeah, you can, and then people can reach out to me. I look after clients from the US to Caribbean to all over the place. But you can also my US clients or Caribbean clients. They usually do WhatsApp, and they can WhatsApp me. And WhatsApp usually +44.
I don't know what happened. I'm sorry. I don't know what happened. He left off the screen. Hopefully, he popped back. That's his website, www.billion.uk.
Yeah, so it's www.buy hyphen little line in the middle bullion.co.uk, and bullion is BULLION.
Yeah, I want to copy and paste it in there. I already copied and paste everything in there.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I hope that answers your question, Sister Tyra. You have to hit him up. Let me see, because there's a question. All right. Another question is, well, hi, Major in chat. Hi, Lindell. Long time no see. I have a very small investment in Robinhood and Blackstone minerals. Was thinking to put something in Barrick Gold.
Barrick Gold.
Should I invest somewhere else like Fidelity for gold? Now, before you answer that question, I want to say this, right? I wanted to ask you too, when you answer that question, what about investing in gold in the stock market?
Yeah. Okay. So first of all, Barrick Gold is a good company. I mean, BlackRock Minerals, Blackstone Minerals, I don't really know much about. I mean, there's thousands of mining companies out there, and I don't know all of them. Mining companies, I mean, in general, gold has outperformed mining companies in the long term. Physical gold, where you hold it in your hand, In the long term, it's outperformed miners. But miners, when gold starts moving, they can outperform gold short term. They can do like 5, 10 fold. But there's a thing to take into consideration. The stock market's due its biggest crash in history anytime soon. So the problem is even if you've got some great mining companies on there, you may see a slight pullback when the big drop comes, because bear in mind the Dow is still quite strong. I think the S&P is pulling back. The Nasdaq has obviously been collapsing, but the Dow's still strong. We've got the kind of bears are in the forest at the moment, and they've been in the forest for a while, and they're starving. They're really hungry. So when they come out, it's going to be a bloodbath. The markets will collapse, and it will cause a lot of volatility, even with good quality mining companies. Now, you've got to realize we're moving into a world of a massive increase of surveillance and control. Okay. And when you're owning shares, you're at the mercy to the markets and everything else. And bear in mind, we're also due an energy crisis. If your computer goes down or the lights go off, how are you going to trade your shares? They're really kind of teeing up the Americans for blackouts very, very soon. So again, that will leave you very, very risky. Whereas if there were a blackout and you've got physical gold, I mean, you can go anywhere, your next door neighbor, and, he'll give you food for the week, or go somewhere and get fuel. Whereas if it's in shares in a mining company, I mean, what are you going to do? Go around with your share certificate, and no one's really got an interest in taking that off of you. So that's my view on that market.
Dre Carter says some companies are also mentioning to transfer your full 1K into gold. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I mean, look, if you've got a 401k, instead of it sitting there exposed to Dow or standard equities, then yeah, definitely get gold in there. If you can get physical gold in there, get it, do it. There's a lot of pension firms around the world at the moment which are now moving to gold. So yeah, I think even Ontario or so, I think there was a police department or some small group which have convinced the staff to now actually expose their retirement to gold. I mean, we're seeing more and more of a movement towards that. So yeah, that could be a wise decision, as everything else is quite likely to collapse.
Well, let me also expound on that, right? Let's look at COVID-19. People, pensions, 401k took a major hit. I have personal friends that lost a lot out of it. So remember, when you are investing in 401ks or what have you, other people invest in your money. You know what I'm saying? They invest, it's not you. You know what I'm saying? So you definitely should take control, because I'm not a fan of 401ks or what have you. But I understand some people want that safety net, I guess, in their mind, whatnot. But at the same time, you at the whim and mercy of somebody else mismanage your funds.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, look, I've heard all the horror stories from my US clients, UK clients. In the last recession, they go outside to the post box or the letter box, they open it up, have a look at their pension, and it's like, shit, I've just lost all my money. Why haven't I been told this? What the hell has just happened? I've lost everything. And the pension companies won't tell you that, when the collapse happens, because like you say, brother, you got no control. So that's the beautiful part about control, is it gives us freedom and so forth.
Lindsay said, I was looking at gold coins, but they wanted 5,000 investment. I'm nowhere near that amount of money.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Well, we can look at some smaller levels to just try and get you, get you on the gold train. We can probably look at a few thousand just to help you out, if that helps you. So we're here to help as many as possible. And also, because you're coming through the network, there is a discount code as well, which you can apply to make sure that you've come through the network. And that could also help save a little bit as well.
Yeah, so be mindful that his information is in here. This is his WhatsApp number, 444-7930615-367. That's something I typed in there, but he wound up putting his in there afterwards, and it's basically the same number. That's his WhatsApp number. You want to call him, set up a consultation, and possibly help him with your investment arrangements.
Yeah.
And also his website, www.buy hyphen billion
Bullion.co.uk. Bullion.co.uk. Yeah, brother.
Sorry for stumbling, y'all. Yeah, and stuck for that. And Jimmy, my girl, how you doing, sister? No, I'm sorry, it's the wrong. It's in Jimmy, huh? No, Jimmy. Oh, she was answering a question. Sorry about this.
Yeah, we just mentioned. I know someone mentioned silver. We did mention that earlier. Um, we did cover that earlier, so you'd probably have to watch that. But very simply, yeah, we like it. Has good potential. It's just the angry sister of gold. But we did speak about that about 5-10 minutes ago, sister. Unfortunately, someone said, "Did you go with a
That's a
one?"
Jimmy question.
Okay.
She's responding. She asked Linda Williams, "Where did you go? Did you go? Where did excuse me? Where did you go? Where they wanted $5,000 shopping around?" And basically, we got you right here to handle that.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then the question about it again, yeah, silver. What about silver? Yeah.
Yeah. Well, again, I'll cover it briefly. We do like it. It has good upside potential, but central banks are not pegging to silver. It's a little bit like the angry sister of gold. It has been flat as a pancake for 2 years as well. Thank God I didn't go heavy on it. All my brothers and sisters are up over the last 2 years. But yeah, we like it. But unfortunately, in the UK, it's not tax free. I know it's tax free for Americans. But as I say, it's a little bit more risky and volatile than gold. We prefer zero risk. We don't like taking chances here, particularly with your hard-earned cash.
Again, I want to thank everybody tuning in. We have Clive Lindsay in the building, aka Gold Guru. He's a consultant, he's an educator. You can see he's a historian dealing with gold and whatnot. And it's just a pleasure and honor to have him on the channel. And I just want to thank y'all. Y'all been so adored with your questions. Feel free to like and share. If you're new to the channel, subscribe. We're gonna have him on again, and we're gonna have a plethora of people on here because I really believe our job in this day and age, especially being that we get old, and we have to make sure we pass information on to our people, especially our young ones. And I have a special question for you. I called a video 45 minutes, and you was teaching some melanated kids, and it was so beautiful how you was talking about the Jewish, the Asian,
Yeah.
Indian kids, and how they're being taught about investing in gold. Can you share a snippet of what you were talking about and why you did what you did?
Yeah, well, first of all, I mean, first of all, I had if I was younger, as a young black man, I went to an all-white school, right? I was like the only black guy in my class. So for me, if I had a young black guy that came into my school, and he was telling me, look, you can make it in the white collared world. Anyone can. This is what real wealth is. This is what gold is. I mean, my life probably would have changed. So that was kind of the push for me to do that and get in front of these kids. And, there's an ex-CIA guy called Jim Rickards. And he basically had educated his kids on what gold was. And he uses very, very simple kind of methods. So the first method is he'll get three asset classes. One asset class would be, say, gold bars. The other asset class would be, say, a dollar note. Okay. And then the other asset class would be, let's say, a 20 cents coin. Right. And now if you say to kids, what do you see here? And everyone should do this exercise with their kids and pick up the gold, the silver coin and say, what do you see? Oh, this is money. Well, no, this isn't money. This is just cheap metal. It's nickel. It used to be silver. It's cheap metal. Oh, but it looks like silver. Yeah, that's the whole point of it, is to make it look like it's valuable. But back in the day, the nickels, they used to have, or the dimes or the quarters, they used to have real metal in. So we know that's fake. Yeah. Let's look at the other one. Let's look at a $10 note. Oh, that's real money. No, it's not. It's actually cotton. It's not paper, and another material. And all this is being printed left, right, and center, and it's just an IOU. There's no substance behind this. But if we pick up this gold bar or this gold coin, what do you see here? Well, that's just gold. Well, it's not gold. It's money. It's real money. And then I build the picture like I did with you of the Roman Empire and the rest of it. And then their heads go, oh, sugar, this is real money. And then they run home and they tell their parents, mum, you got your money in your bank. You should be owning gold. Why don't we own gold? So it's life changing. And because they're young, they can take it in, and we can program them early instead of programming them to get credit cards and buy the latest Nike shoes.
That's very, very, very powerful, man. So
Yeah, I mean, look, the other thing is, look, I when I worked in New York, one of the brokers said to me, and I won't use this word, he said, "You're enrich." Yeah, you're enrich. Yeah. It started with
right.
N. Yeah, it was another brother, so it wasn't that bad. We don't use that word much in the UK. I'm not a big fan of that word. But he said you're enrich because I was clueless. You know, we, as you know, a lot of brothers in that, we just want to drive around in fancy cars, have the nice clothes. We got no real hard assets. You know, most of the cars are leased or they're borrowed, and it's all fakery. You know, so that's why it's my mission to not have the mistakes that I made in becoming enrich and actually get some real wealth, you know, and you know, some real assets, some real hard assets. And that's why I wanted to program them early so they don't kind of mess up like I did.
Thank you again. I want to thank everybody viewing. Please share with the audience your last words and any advice you have to the viewers. And I know
Yeah,
you.
just guys, look, after this, reach out to me, make that change in your life, because in the next 6 to 12 months, gold may probably double in our view. You've got to get gold. Gold is like a gift from God. Anyone that can get cash right now, try and get it. If you've got money sitting in the bank, get it out. If you're holding on to shares, get it out. We're due the biggest economic collapse in history, and it's all programmed. Do not be the last one holding the bag. Yeah, we could possibly you know, just change our lives with gold. It's I just can't put it any other way. This is quite a monumental time where we're alive, and we're going to see a collapse of an empire and a whole new empire take over BRICS. This is unseen in history. This happens every 100 years. So this is where millionaires are made. It's just up to you what side you want to play for. And right now, my side is scoring goals right now.
Thank you so much, Clive, for coming
No
on.
problem, brother.
I'm
Thank you
looking
for
forward
having
to
me.
help you. No
Yeah,
problem.
no problem. Well, thanks very much. Sorry about the black time. I was running a bit late. Sorry, people. I promise I won't get stuck in traffic again. But I'm here to help. But guys, whether you buy gold from me, go somewhere else and buy it. Just please take my advice and make sure you secure your wealth. Don't let all the fat cats make all the big butts. Let's get some of the juice. Let's get some of the cake ourselves. Yeah.
Yes, yes. Thank you so much, man. So you have a blessed day. I'll
Same
be
to you, brother.
soon. All right, my
Take
brother.
care, G. All right, G. Take care. Bye-bye.
All right, man. I just want to thank you all. Y'all have been fabulous today. Please like and share this live. If you're new to my channel, subscribe to it. Hit the notification bell. Major TV is in conjunction with News Facts and Comments. Go to the website newsfactsnc.net, and we are dropping a lot of information. Whether it's dealing with recent news, breaking news. We have different sections where we have various interviews that Sister Cody, shout out to Sister Cody. You know, we're working together just to get information out to you all. We want to let y'all know one thing. We love y'all, you know, and we not going to quit. We are not going to stop. I don't care how much you don't see me do a lot of videos. I'm always have my people on my mind and my heart. I'm always look out for you all. You know why? Because we got to have each other back. That's why I like to coin this term. And I heard when I was young, each one teach one. Hashtag each one teach one. That's what we need to start doing is helping each other. We have a plethora of things going on in our community that's definitely or that needs attention, but sometimes it's over dramatized. It become chaotic. We fussing and fighting. We need to channel our energy and focus on becoming better, making better life choices. I mean, better financial choices, better choices all around. So again, I want to thank everybody. I'm very humble with just doing this live. Shout out to Njimile for hooking me up with this brother. I mean, this has been a blessing since day one. We met when I first started Made TV 3 years ago, and she's been rolling with me along with a lot of y'all. So I want to thank y'all so much. So with that being said, I want y'all to take care of yourself. I want y'all to be safe. Now I want y'all just to be you. Be yourself. Peace.
One for the money, you know what it is. Two for the show, yeah, we shut it down. Three just to make sure you ready. Four, let them know that we run this town. One for the money, you know what it is. Two for the show, yeah, we shut it down. Three just to make sure you ready. Four, let them know that we run. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome. You are now for the money, you know what it is. 2 for the show, yeah, we shut it down. 3 just to make sure you ready. 4, let them know that we run this town. 1 for the money, you know what it is. 2 for the show, yeah, we shut it down. 3 just to make sure you ready.